Uh, so hi everybody, this is Tejas Thakur here. I head the training function at Kotak Mutual Funds. So today we are going to discuss about Excel and the functions of advanced Excel. So give me a moment, I'll just share my screen and we start. I hope the screen is visible.
Yes,
Right?
sir.
Yeah. So when we talk about advanced MS Excel, there are multiple points which are there. So I have a list of the things which we can cover today, and let's see how much we're able to do. So this is the list of around 18 topics. VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, rate of returns, XIRR, conditional formatting, sum product, subtotal, pivots, embedded charts, count ifs, sum if, text to columns, concatenate, text, print with title row, Excel to PDF, and nested ifs.
सर ये
So
हम
this is
सब एक सेशन में कवर करेंगे.
नहीं सो आपको जितना चाहिए उतना हम एक सेशन में कवर करेंगे. सो वी विल स्टार्ट विद वी लुकअप बिकॉज दैट्स द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग. वी लुकअप एच लुकअप करके पिवट और एम्बेडेड चार्ट्स पे आएंगे, फिर देखेंगे कि डू यू वांट मी टू कंटिन्यू विद इट. देन जितना चाहिए उतना हम उस टाइम के हिसाब से कर सकते हैं. अप्रोक्सीमेटली हाउ मच टाइम डू वी हैव सर?
सर आई बुक द सेशन फॉर 2 hours बट आई थिंक लोग बोर नहीं होना चाहिए बस.
हाँ, बोर नहीं होना चाहिए और सर के ऊपर से नहीं जाना चाहिए. सो
नहीं जाना चाहिए.
exactly. So we'll start with VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, pivot and embedded pivot charts. Then we'll take a call कितना आगे हमें कंटिन्यू करना है इसको.
ओके सर.
ठीक है. Okay. Now first and foremost, why is VLOOKUP required? Because आप जब भी डेटा लेते हो, जहां से भी लेते हो, वो डेटा एक प्रीसेट फॉर्मेट में आता है. राइट. सो आप वो फॉर्मेट चेंज नहीं कर सकते बिकॉज यू आर नॉट अलाउड टू डू दैट. चाहे वो डेटा आप कैम से ले रहे हो, एम्फी से ले रहे हो, एएमसी से ले रहे हो या किसी साइट से ले रहे हो, जो भी कर रहे हो आपको वो डेटा एक अपने खुद के फॉर्मेट में ही आएगा, उनके फॉर्मेट में ही आएगा ना. जब आपको उसको मॉडिफाई करना है, अपने काम के लिए यूज करना है, तो व्हाट इज इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर यू इज टू आइडेंटिफाई कि वो हम कैसे करें. ठीक है. तो जब तक वो डेटा मेरे खुद के फॉर्मेट में नहीं आता, जो तो मेरे लिए वो उतना काम का नहीं रहता बिकॉज आई एम रेस्ट्रिक्टेड टू व्हाट आई कैन डू विद दैट डेटा. सो आई वुड सजेस्ट दैट आप सबसे पहले यू स्टार्ट प्रिपेयरिंग मैपिंग शीट्स. ओके. तो जो भी मैपिंग शीट्स आपको रेलेवेंट होगा वो आप बना लीजिए, एंड देन जो भी डेटा आपके पास आता है उसके सामने
काइंडली कीप इट इन इंग्लिश मेजरली बिकॉज लॉट ऑफ पार्टनर्स आर फ्रॉम साउथ.
ओके. सो ठीक है, फिर 100% इंग्लिश.
या
Okay, no problem. So what we are saying here is that see, let me just repeat whatever I said once again. So the data which comes to you is coming in a preset format, whether it is coming from CAMS, AMCs, SEBI, any other platform. It is in their format. You can't change the format. Okay, but unfortunately that format has limited application. So what I normally do is whenever data comes to me, I will convert that data into my format. Okay, wherein there are multiple mappings which are done to that existing format, which makes sense for me to work on that data. Okay, so what I would urge all of you to do is to create mapping sheets for yourself as per your requirement. Now, what is a mapping sheet? A mapping sheet is, in one column there is a data which is a unique data, and in multiple columns following that there will be data which is relevant to that particular point. Unique, when we call, there are only certain things which are unique. For example, PAN card number is unique. Your PAN number is unique. It doesn't get repeated anytime. Okay. Your Aadhaar number is unique. Then if it is an employee, for example in Prudent or Kotak, we would have an employee ID and that would be unique. Okay. Your customers, if you're giving any ID, then that would be unique. So these would be unique IDs which would be existing. If the unique ID does not exist, then there is a method to create a unique ID. So two IDs, two pointers or two parameters which may not be unique in itself but combined together they form a unique combination, that also can be worked out if required. Right. So let me just start with the mapping sheets which I have here. Very simple elementary I have kept. I have taken the name of a fund and I've added a category to it. This is old, okay, so don't compare it with the new names which are there. This is the old data which we have used. So there is a fund name which is there, and there's a category which is associated with that name, right? Next, the second mapping sheet I have here is fund name versus the AMC name. The third mapping sheet I have here is fund name versus direct and regular. Okay, now all of these independent mapping sheets are in one worksheet only. They can be in multiple worksheets, they can be in multiple files, it does not matter. Okay, let me just see. Okay, right. Okay, so what do I do with this data? So for example, I have a VLOOKUP sheet here. Okay, I'll just delete the data which is existing here. Now I have a list of funds which are there, around 20, around 71 funds list is there. Now against these funds, what do I want? I want category, I want AMC, okay, and I want a direct regular, because that is the format in which I want to present it. And then later on, I'll move ahead to years, 3 years returns, 5 years returns, and so on and so forth. Now, what do I do? I will come to this column, which is this is this cell which is there, uh, the first cell. I will apply the formula of VLOOKUP. Okay. Now, if you see VLOOKUP, there are 4 points there. Let's understand each one of them. The first point is lookup value. What does it mean? The unique value which is existing in both your source data as well as your destination sheet. I'm repeating, a unique value which exists between your source data and your destination sheet. Okay. Second is the table array which is there. What is a table array? I need to identify the source data, and I need to mention that here so that Excel understands that data needs to be picked from that range or that array, to be precise. The next is column index number. Now, when we look at the table array might have 2 columns, might have 20 columns also. How will Excel come to know from which column I need to pick up the data? So that is where you give a referencing, which is known as your column index number, because you're giving a number to each column. We are talking about vertical lookup. The last is range lookup. Okay, range lookup is basically here false. Why false? Because if it is true, it can take up any closest match data, which I don't want happening. I want an exact match which is there, so I will look at only the false parameter here. I will not look at the true parameter here. Okay, so repeating once again, lookup value means what? The unique value which exists between the source data and the destination sheet. Table array is a table from which I'm going to pick up data. Column index number, the column in that table array which I'm going to look at when I pick up data. Range lookup is false, meaning that I will look at only exact match and nothing beyond that. Let's start. So let me just close this. Okay, is equal to VLOOKUP, bracket open. Now if you see this thing here, which is visible, it is not so much clear and people get confused with the commas which is there. So simple error free method, you see fx here. Okay, click on fx, the function argument box opens up. Place it here so that nothing is blocked. Now it is asking you VLOOKUP, the lookup value. So I'll just select this value. Okay, then I'll go to the next one for comma. I need to look at the table array. So I'll go to my mapping sheet. Okay, I'm going to look at the first one. I've identified the category, the range. Then I'm going to say 2 because it's the second column from which I need data. And then I'm going to say false. Okay, it is picked up. Axis Focus 25 fund is a equity multi-cap fund. Don't move ahead. Wait. Go back to the function. Now, if you see this range which is there, this range is open. Okay. Now, after you have applied the VLOOKUP formula, you have to ask, if I drag, is dragging okay with me? That is, if I'm moving it to the next cell, is the next cell B3? Yes, that is okay. So this is no problem. I can't have the range moving. I'll just give you an example. Let me just close this here. I drag it. Okay. Remember what was there? B2, A2, B73. What happened here? B3 is fine. I'm okay with this being picked up, but I am not okay with the range moving. So I can't do this. I'll have to go back and do something else in this. I will have to lock the cells only of the range. Okay. So I will go and lock function F4. If you see on both sides of the alphabet, there's a dollar sign which has been created. So it means that there's a lock which is there. Okay. Full lock. Come here again, do the same thing, function F4. Okay. Enter. Now, if I drag it, it will remain, the range will remain as A2, B73. A2, B73. Okay. Remember, whatever I want to move forward in terms of dragging, I will not lock that. That is, I'm not going to lock B2 or B3 here. Numbers need not be locked, they are by default locked only. Okay. So 2 will never move. 2 will never become 3 here. Right? Perfect. Now let me just delete this. Let us leave it like this here. Okay. Now I want to do the same thing here. So is equal to VLOOKUP. Lookup value is this, comma, table array. I'm going to go here. I'm going to select this range, comma, 2 again, because again it's the second column, comma, false, bracket closed. Again go back, lock this range, function F4, function F4. Okay, done. Yes, Manohar Lal, you can put your query in the chat box. I come here, do the same thing here, is equal to VLOOKUP, enter the reference range, go to the category mapping, the third sheet which is here, two comma false, come back here, function F4, come back here, function F4, come here, close, enter. Done. Okay. Now if you see the range, it has been labeled as category mapping. Now when we come here and I try to do the same thing, the 3 years returns are available here with me. Master Excel. Okay. So come back here to my VLOOKUP sheet, is equal to VLOOKUP. Okay. This is what I want. Let me go to the master sheet for the returns. Okay, close. Now let me count the columns. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So I'll put the number as 7, comma, exact match, enter. Now if you see here, in here you had the category mapping sheet which was shown in the reference column of the array. Here you can see the master being shown. Now if these are different sheets altogether, then different files altogether, it will show you the file reference also. Okay, done. Now let me just lock it also before I forget. Lock, double lock, enter. Okay, now if you saw one thing, I'll just go back to the master sheet. So always remember your reference column which is there is the leftmost sheet column which is there. Left of that, nothing will get considered. Okay, there might be columns on the left, but that will not get considered. So you have to ensure that your reference sheet can't be here. If the category D column is your reference sheet, then only data on the right side will be picked up, not on the left side. So you can't pick up ANC, you can't pick up direct regular, you can't pick up the fund name basis if your category is your reference sheet. Okay, so always remember the counting will be toward the effectiveness will be towards the right. That is one part. Second, the counting also will be towards right. So if I'm taking this as a reference sheet, this will be 1, this 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on and so forth. Okay, clear on these 2 points? Let's go back to the sheet. VLOOKUP. I'll just confirm once again, the range is locked. Yes, 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 and yes. Okay, I'm not going to the 5 years return. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come here. 1, 2, 3, 4. This broad plus sign is there. I just go closer. This small black plus sign is visible. Okay, I double click. Everything is available. Okay, I'll just go back one step and do this again. So I'm just selected everything. Coming here, black plus sign. Double click on that. Everything else is available. Automatically picked up. So if you're doing filters and sort, then it will not work. Okay, so best is to do VLOOKUP so that the data is available. Now the next thing after VLOOKUP, once you have done that, you have to ensure that if your job is done about VLOOKUP, remove the formulas, because the more the formulas are there, everything is linked backwards to that particular sheet which was there, and it will create problems in the future. That is one. Second, it will become very heavy. And third, any changes in that source data, automatic changes will happen here which you will never come to know. Okay, so once your VLOOKUP job is done, let's select this entire thing. Okay, Control C for copy, Alt ESV, which is paste special values, and enter. All the formulas are gone. Okay, I'm repeating what I did. I selected all the columns where the formulas were there. I did Control C for copy. I did Alt ESV, Elephant Sri Lanka Victory, for paste special values to remove the formulas. Anybody has any questions still here, you can put it into the chat box. Once we have done sorted the questions, we'll move forward. A few people had raised hands, so if you want to put your question in the chat box, more than welcome.
Sir, I think we can take the questions later on.
Okay, fair, no problems. I will take the questions later on. So this is one part which is done, which is the VLOOKUP. Now let's look at what is HLOOKUP.
Can how to log the VLOOKUP for formula? Can
function F4. Function and F4. Alt ESV, not A, it is Alt ESV, Elephant Sri Lanka Victory. We do Alt ESV, that is shortcut for paste special values. You can go to paste, then go to paste special, then go to paste special values and do it, or you remember this formula. Okay, it is not ASV, I'm repeating, it is ESV, Elephant Sri Lanka Victory. Can we use as XLOOKUP? Yes. So XLOOKUP is a combination of VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP. It is available only in the latest versions of the Microsoft Excel which is available. We officially do not have that version, so we are not in a position to use XLOOKUP. It looks at randomly your columns and rows, and there are no restrictions. So if you have the latest version of MS365 and you have XLOOKUP with you, you don't have to learn VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP. It will become easier for you. It works for both. Okay, so let's move forward. Normally data is available to us in a vertical format, hence we do VLOOKUP. V is vertical. But there are instances when data can also be available in a horizontal format for us, and in that case we will need to do an HLOOKUP. So let me come to HLOOKUP. Okay. Now data is available to me in this format. I have the 3 years returns for various funds. I have the 5 years returns. I have the 10 years returns. All the funds in the first data are not present in the second data, are not present in the third data. So there could be variations. And the format which I want is only these 6 funds, their 3 years, 5 years and 10 years returns I want. Okay. Now please don't focus on the returns because this is a auto random generated data. So this does not correlate with any existing return charts which are there. Okay. So the data is in this format. Now people who are very used to with Excel, what will they will do is they will take this data, transpose, do a VLOOKUP, transpose again and give the answer. So that is one way, but if you want to learn HLOOKUP and do that, that's more easier. So what we do here is we apply the function of HLOOKUP. H stands for horizontal. Okay. Again, let's go back to the fx function to see what we have. Lookup value, same, the reference column which is there. Table array, same, source data from which I want to pick up data. One change here, there you had a column index number, here you have a row index number, because there the data was arranged in columns, here your data is arranged in the rows. And again you have the range lookup which is false here because I want the exact match, right? So let me just go back and do this. So is equal to, I'm applying HLOOKUP here. I'm going to look at the reference cell. So that is axis 25, focus 25 fund. Then I'm going to look at the table array. I'm going to look at 3 years. So let me go up. Okay, comma. Again, it is a second row here, and then false. Bracket close. Okay. Let me just go back to the function. Yep. Okay. B1, B11, I don't want it locked. Perfect. But this range has to be locked. So I'll do a double lock here again. Function F4 and again function F4. Okay. And then I say enter. I have locked that cell. Same I will do for 5 years and then 10 years. Is equal to HLOOKUP. Lookup value is this again, comma. This is the range, comma to comma false. I have to log this range, so function F4 and function F4. Done, enter. Same way for 10 years, HLOOKUP. Lookup value is this, the range is this, comma, 2 again, false again, bracket closed. You're locking, double lock, again a double lock. Okay. I have everything here. Now remember, the double click concept doesn't work on horizontal, it only works vertically. So once I have this, I will have to drag it right. It will give me the exact data. Okay. So the beauty of VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP is that whatever mapping sheets I have created for my reference purpose, I can add all of those next to that existing data to make it more valid. Right? So I hope this is clear and hope VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP are clear. Now, why do I do VLOOKUP? As I said, I need to analyze the data. For analysis, whatever raw data was available was not sufficient. That is why I did a mapping on it using VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP. Now, the main purpose of doing it is something different. So we'll look at what is the purpose. Now let's say I have this data which is available to me. Fund name, direct regular, access, category 1 year, returns SIP, normal is normal SIP 5 years, 10 years, expense ratio and all. Again, disclaimer, this is not a true data. This has been artificially created using randomization. Okay, so don't try to refer it to anything which is existing. Even the names are old, so now a lot of things have changed. Now what I need to do is I need to do an analysis. So I don't use sort and filters. I straight do a pivot on the data, and in that pivot I will do whatever I want to do to get whatever I need out of it in terms of analysis. There are 2-3 ways in which you can do pivot. So basically range selection can be done in 3-4 ways. Pivot is the same, so that is there. One is I can take the exact range. So I do this, my exact range is selected. Good, where you have multiple data in the same sheet, but what happens is, since you have locked all the sides of the data, any new data which comes in will not be included as a part of the pivot unless until you refresh the source data. Okay, so it becomes slightly challenging. You sometimes don't remember to refresh and there can be errors. Now the second way to do it is like this. So this is one, close range. The second is a full range. So I just go here and click. Okay, let me just come out. I'll go here and click. So what will happen? It will select everything. It's going to select everything here also. Now what happens, because of this is too much of data selection is happening. If there is any other data anywhere, there could be a confusion. Okay, so I will not use both these methods. I will use a separate method. I will use this. So what I do is, let me just click here. I'm going to select the whole column and move right. Why so? Because data by its nature is dynamic. So let's say you have, today is the 2nd of the month, you've got a data for yesterday, then next week you'll keep getting data, then you'll keep updating data, and then August will be over, you'll in September you'll have a fresh data. So all of that will be dynamic in nature. So it is better to select the entire column so that any data which is added below the existing data automatically becomes a part of the pivot when you just refresh. You don't have to change the source, right? Advantage one. Then there is no further columns which are going to be added, because if you're taking a data in this format, then that is the data which will be available to you every time. So columns don't get added. So it is better that you just select the entire column so that data can be used in this way. Okay. So now what do I do? I have selected the data. I have selected it like this. So all the columns below this also selected. Now there are multiple ways in which you can do a pivot. You can go here, insert, and insert a pivot, or I prefer formulas. So I will do Alt DPP, Alt Delhi Pune, and then I keep entering till the time I get my pivot. Enter, enter, pivot. Okay, the shortcut which I have used is Alt Delhi Pune. You can use whatever you want to use directly. Also you can come here and insert, that is fine. Whatever you see on my screen is a pivot table which has been created. There is nothing there, that is why it is looking blank. So before we get into and put data into that, let us first understand something more important. You see at the bottom right of my screen, there are 4 boxes which are there. Now these are very critical boxes. Okay, what do you do with these boxes? Let me just, before we get into these boxes, let's understand how do we see a table. A table is normally seen in the format that it has a header. Okay, it has multiple rows of data. So rows are there, and in between you have the data, the numbers which are there. So you have, let's say if you have months, then you have January, February, March, April, May, June, like that at the top. If you have employees, then employee 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 100, 200, 500, like that. or customers. Okay, and then you have the data which whatever has been the productivity or business or whatever. That is the format which you see the data. Now, the columns which you, the rows which you see, okay, the rows have to be here. So whatever vertical I was showing you, that you have the employee names or the customer names or here the fund names, all that will come in the rows. Okay, your headers will be in columns. Sometimes you can put the headers in values also to get the same result. So it, you can check it in both the cases and then put it. Okay, we will restrict our discussion till here. So let's see how this can be done. This is a drag and drop mechanism. So what I do is I want fund name, I'll pick up the fund name and drop it here. Automatically on the left hand side of my screen, you see all the fund details happening. Then I come and say categories. Okay, I'll remove the categories I don't want. I'll come to it later. I want 3 years returns. Okay, and I want 5 years returns. Now, in one case, Excel has done a sum, in the other case, Excel has done a count. No worries, perfectly fine. This is how Excel operates. Come here, bottom down arrow, click. You see something like a drop up menu has been created. Drop down actually, but on the upward side because there is no space. You see value field settings here. Click on that. Come here. The sum was given to you. Now in returns we look at average. We don't look at sum. This data it will not impact because the data is very simple, so it will remain the same. But fine. Then again for the second one, come click here. Value field settings. Come here. Count has been selected. I don't want the sum also, I want an average. So I'll click here, say okay, it will give me an average. Perfect, done. Now let's say there is one more box here, okay, filters. So what do you do with those filters? Let me see. So I want the AMC name to be put there. I'll put it up. I want the category to be put. Okay. I want regular and direct to be put. So all of those things have been available here. Now when you see the data, there is no change because all has been selected as a default function. I go and select Kotak. This is the Kotak data for direct regular combinations 3 and 5 years. This doesn't work for me, so I will say give me regular. So it's given me 4 funds which are there a part of this data and their returns which is available here. Okay. Now I don't want this for Kotak, I want this for, let's say, Canara Repoco. This is how it will change automatically. I want it for, so I'm not doing anything, I'm just changing it here. I want it for JM. I want it for Edelweiss. No data available. I want it for Axis. Available. I want it for 2 data points. So Axis and Kotak. So I will select multiple items. Select Kotak here. Not a use case, but still there are certain cases where you need this data. Right? So it's given me whatever I wanted. Now let's say I want the same sheet to be created once again. Okay, I will not create a fresh pivot. I will just do copy paste. That makes life easier for me, and when I refresh it will get automatically refreshed. Everything will get refreshed. Now I want to go to AMCs here and say all. I want to sort it category wise. I want to see what is the mid cap performance. This is the mid cap performance. I want to promote, let's say, large and mid cap. This is what is the performance. Okay. So like this, you can have multiple sheets. So in one sheet, if one pivot, if you want any editing to be done, so if you want to have, for example, here you want to have Kotak or any other fund, and you are not very sure that which companies or which AMCs you would want to look at or which categories you want to look at, let it remain like this. You can keep changing it here, but you can create as many pivots as you require. So let's say you are talking to clients and you are giving them some are your SIP clients, some are your lump sum clients, and you want to have separate returns for them. You want to look at category wise. You want to promote a particular category. Let's say Kotak is now launching momentum fund, so you want to promote momentum as a category. So whatever you want to promote, you can create the data for that using existing data and then use that as a reference point for promotion. Okay, so I'm restricting myself to only two pivots here. You can do as many pivots as possible. Okay, now let's look at something more interesting and then we will come to the detailing of the pivots. Okay, now before we move forward, if I want this to be formatted, sometimes you get this as multiple numbers, so no problem, just come here, say number, and that's it. Come here, say number, and that's it. Okay, you want to decide the number of decimals, you want to increase this, you can increase this, decrease this, decreases, all of this is available. You want to have it only this is also available. You want to insert an INR number, currency symbol, you can do that. Okay, so all these things are available here itself. Let's go and see what else is available in this sheet. Okay, so coming to value field settings, let me just drag it up for your reference. Okay, so what we saw here was the first part which was selected, which is summarize values by. What options do I have? We've already seen sum and count was there, which came as default. Then we used average. This is the maximum use case for us. Beyond that, you have max, min, product, etc., not required. Okay, and you have the statistical parameters also there. Now let's say I want to find out how many SIPs a customer has done and what is the count of what is the value of that SIP's total. Then I can, in the same sheet, I can have count and sum both. So count will give me the numbers, that is the count of the SIPs or whatever I'm asking, and the sum will give me the effective AUM or gross sale total, whatever I've put there. Right, now you can also move to this piece, which is show values as. So here technically there is no calculation which is happening, but if you want to have a calculation of the grand total, you can do that. Column total, row total, etc., all of that is available. Okay, so as per your requirement, you can do that. Normally what we do is when we say business, we take a cell outside of this, so just cancel this, we take a cell here, say is equal to this, so this is C5 C6, okay, divided by your C13, 13, okay. This is a percentage, I will convert this into percentage. So if it was a total, then it would have tallied. It is not a total, so it will not tally. Right, then I would have dragged it down and then I would have done the percentage, but that is not required. If you want only the percentage, you can convert it directly using whatever I showed you. Okay, let me just delete this. What else is available there? Yeah, number formatting is available. So either you can use the number formatting from here, or you can come here and do the number formatting. Everything is available. The same functionality which was available outside is available inside also. Okay, so number, general, currency, all of that, percentage, etc., everything is available. Okay, now having done this, let's move forward and do something more interesting with this. Now I want to send this to my client. Okay, the point is, if I send this, numbers are easy for us to understand, but for clients who are not from finance background, slightly difficult. what do? I make life easier for them. I just select this without the grand total. Okay. And convert this into a graph or a chart. I will just go down, put it here for you to easily understand it. Okay. This is the graph which is available. Now, the point is that uh, this is easy for people to understand. Okay. But remember always, this is a good way to show a graph when your these things, these names are smaller. Okay. If they're big like whatever we are seeing right now, don't use this, change it. So I'm just deleting it. I'm again going back, insert, recommended charts. I'm not going to use a column chart. I'm going to use a bar chart. Okay. Why bar chart is because it is available in this format. It makes life easier for people to read. Okay, let me just take it down for your reference. I'm just increasing the size of this to make it easier. Now, if you see, I can read clearly because it is horizontally written. Kotak Standard Multi-Cap Fund, Kotak India, whatever fund, etc., etc. Now, when you give data in the graph format, there are certain do's and don'ts which are very, very important. First and foremost, ensure that this is not visible to everybody. Okay, I can't say I know it is between 6 and 8, but exactly what it is, I don't know. So, simple solution to this is click one color, right click, go down, data labels, and say yes. Automatically, the number has been associated with the graph. For one color, you have to do it once. Okay, I'll repeat it for the second color. Data labels, yes. Okay, in case any of these numbers is overlapping the data, which can happen, you can just select this, okay, and manually move it slightly. Okay, that is possible. Plus, if you feel that this number font size is too low for anybody to read, then you can go here. You have selected, first selection is everything, the second selection is individual selection. So I just go here and increase the font size. Okay, 12 is readable. I'll come here and do the same for this also. Okay, you are not okay with this color, you can go and change this color. Okay, you can come here or wherever you want to go, you can change the color from here also. I want it green, I can do it green. I can want it orange or whatever, I can do that also. I can change this color to make it again whatever I wish, green, etc., etc. So I can change all of that. Okay, so colors you might get, you might not be very comfortable with those colors. If you're having more bars or more columns, they might blend into each other. The colors you wanted distinct colors, so whatever you want to do, you can do. Okay. Next part. Now, if you see, this data is crowded. Okay, so what do? I just click on the data, I select here, right click, I say no, नहीं, ठीक है, एक second. Hide all filter buttons on chart. Hide all, rather, not even filter buttons. If I want to hide everything, and I hide everything also. Hide all field buttons on chart. Now this chart looks much more decent. All of that is not here. Okay, I want to format this. This is known as a legend. I can manually pick it up and drag it down also wherever I want, but what will happen, it will overlap. So I don't do that. I come here, right click, I say format legend, okay, and then I say I want it at the bottom. So by this it will adjust the chart in such a way and it will put it wherever I want. I can put it on the top also if I want, wherever I want to put it. Okay, top right I want to put it, I can do that as well. So it will automatically change the size of the chart, adjust it accordingly. Manually picking it up and dropping it might cause problems. It may overlap the existing data. So I normally prefer it as bottom, which makes it look cleaner. Okay. Now you must have seen the buttons which were there, which I have hidden now. Okay, let me just go back. Now, what is the beauty of this chart? This is known as an embedded chart, a embedded pivot chart. Why so? Because this chart at the back end is related to your pivot, that at the back end is related to your Excel sheet. Right? Now, if I come here and remove this multiple items and say I only want Kotak, Kotak has been seen here. Okay, access is gone. And if you come down to the chart, I've not done anything with the chart, automatically access is gone from here as well. Okay, so whatever changes you do in the chart, this could have been done from the buttons on the chart itself. So whatever changes you do in the chart or in the table, automatically everything else gets incorporated. Right? So at the back end, this is available to you in the format. So this is at the back end connected to the pivot. The pivot is at the back end connected to the Excel sheet which is there. Right? So this was the embedded pivot charts. So if you have any questions till here, we can discuss or we move forward. So what have we done till now? We have done VLOOKUP, we have done HLOOKUP, we have done pivots, and we have done embedded pivot charts. Okay. So let's look at a very simple function which is XIRR now. Pivot and VLOOKUP once again.
Sir, I am anyway recording the session.
Yeah.
The session will be available for watching it.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Right. So now we'll move to XIRR because that is something which is very important for you to understand. Quickly, rate of returns and XIRR I will take you through. So because that is more practical when you do it on a day-to-day basis, right? So let's look at returns first, and then we'll move to XIRR. Returns only I'm looking at basic, not getting into everything. Okay. So let's say okay. Now let's say a customer had put 10 lakh rupees as lump sum in investment, and in 10 years it became 22 lakh rupees. Now he is asking what is the rate of return. So what do we do? Do we use IRR function? Do we use XIRR function? Do we use CAGR? What do we do? We don't do anything like that. We use a simple rate function available in Excel in the time value of money space. So the rate function is specified as rate, RATE, bracket open. I will again click on FX to understand what are the parameters which are there here. So the first parameter is NPER. NPER means number of years, okay, or number of compounding periods in this case. Then you have PMT, which is your regular cash flow which is there. So typically cases of SIPs, SWPs, that amount will come in your PMT. PV is your initial investment, FV is your final value. Type is 1 when we look at investments. So having understood this basic, let us start putting the data here. 10 is this, PMT is not there. PV, always remember, whatever money is going out of your pocket will be labeled as minus. Money coming in is considered to be plus. So I'm saying minus this value. Okay. Future value is 22 lakh rupees. Type I'm saying is 1. So I got the answer, which is 8.2037 as a rate of returns. Now the person would be very happy that 10 lakhs has become 22 lakhs, but he's got half the returns of the market. Okay, normally we talk about 15 to 16% as a market returns, exactly half of that. So this is how the rate function gets calculated when it is a lump sum investment. Let's look at what would happen in case of a SIP investment. Let's say somebody started an SIP of 10,000 rupees 15 years back. Today the value is 37.50 lakhs. Huge, right? But how good is the XIRR? How good is the investment? You will come to know by the XIRR. So here again we don't use XIRR as a function, rate as a function, nothing. Again going back to the simple function of RATE, rate. Okay. So let me click again, same functions are available. So I will put PM N per will be my 15. Okay. PMT will be 10,000. Future value, present value is not there, future value is this, and type is 1. Now there's an error here. Okay. Understand that 10,000 rupees SIP is there, so that is going to be minus, it's an investment. So let's first do that. Okay. Now there's one more error here. What is the error? The error is number of compounding periods. So it is 15 years perfect, but 15 I will have 12 installments being paid every month, every year. So this will get multiplied by 12. Okay, perfect. So my answer is 0.7349. Is this the right answer? No. Okay, why no? Let me go back again. The NPER is in months. Perfect. PMT is in months. Perfect. But what is happening to my answer? My answer is also in months. This is in months. The monthly rate is calculated. So what do? I just come out of this is equal to 12 multiplied by this value. Now my answer is perfect. It's 8.8%. Okay. Now when you do XRR rate calculations, these help you to actually demonstrate to your customers what performance have you given and what performance he has received from his investments outside. That will give you a use case for you to promote that, yes boss, you can move the money to us. Fair? Now, so practically all cases you can use rate functions except where you have multiple investments, multiple redemptions, etc., etc. In that kind of a situation you use something known as XIRR. Okay, so let's say we have a case here where a customer started his investments in 2019, random investments, and you have those investments, you have the dates on which those investments were made. So this is the data which is available to you. Okay, plus the customer has done a redemption once, this data is available to you, and if you see the value as of 31st March 2025, this is the value which you get from the cash statement. This is a real life data. Now the customer is asking ki what returns did I get out of this? Okay, here you can't use rate function, here you will have to use XIRR function. But before you do that, one more parameter is important. So what is important is, first what I will do is I will take all the investments, I will copy them here, I will take the redemption, I will copy it below that. Okay, then I will take the current portfolio, I will copy it below that. I should have taken the dates also parallelly, so I should ideally be doing this. Okay, and this, then like this, like like this, and then finally this. Job 1 done. Moving to job 2. So now I need to tell Excel which is investment, which is redemption, and which is the current portfolio. Excel will not understand. So what do I do is very simple. I just take this outside. All my investments, I'm just removing it from here and placing it here. Okay. I want this to be converted into a negative sign. Manually I can do, but it will take a lot of time. So what I do is I apply a formula, -1 multiplied by this value. Okay. I've got the answer here. Drag it down and change the font size for my understanding. Okay, done. So now I have the signage which is there. Redemption is money coming into my pocket, which is plus. Current value of the portfolio is, again, if I redeem it right now, it will come into my pocket, so that is also plus. So I'm using XIRR as a function here. Okay, so is equal to XIRR, bracket open. There are two parts to it. Let's look at effects and understand. Values and dates. Okay, so when I say values, what do? I take the values from here, all the values together, comma, close, come here, look at, take all the dates together. Okay, and I say okay. The answer is there. Guess is something which you need not use there. Okay, so 17.83 is a CAGR in this situation. So practically you can do it for yourself also. First, go back if you have listed down when you have made the investments, when you have made redemptions, you want to find out what is the value today, you can do that, and then you can tell for yourself that I've been investing for 5 years, 10 years, whatever, and this is my XIRR. Once you are doing it for yourself, start doing it for your customers as well. Okay, for one stock, for one mutual fund scheme, it is easy, but finding the XIRR, because it is available also. But when you do it for multiple, the entire portfolio together, that is where the real magic happens. Clear? So we have done this also, rate and XIRR. So let me go to the content. I've done this as well. Okay, I think we'll do a few more things and then we'll close for the day. Conditional formatting. Okay, so let me come to conditional format. Yep. Yes, Fund Bazaar reflects XIRR, also reflects absolute. So absolute is shown whenever your investment horizon is less than 1 year, because you're not supposed to extrapolate. Let's say I have invested in a X scheme and I got 5% returns in 1 month. That doesn't mean I will get 60% returns in the year. 5 multiplied by 12. So that is wrong. So they will always give you 5% returns absolute for that time period. So Fund Bazaar will always reflect both your absolute returns as well as your XIRR. Absolute in case of holding period less than 1 month, less than 1 year, and for greater than 1 year, it is always converted into XIRR. Okay, so let us go to conditional formatting. Let me first remove the formatting which is there. Okay, now this data is a huge data. Okay, when we look at it, it's not very easy to comprehend the data. Okay, so a better alternative is to do conditional formatting to for us to get a broader picture of what the data is all about. How is the data looking, right? So what do? I select the number range. Okay, go to conditional formatting. There are multiple things here. I don't go to everything. I just say create a new rule. Okay, then there are again a lot of things which are available. I only select this. You can explore with the other parts also. I only select format only cells that contain. Okay. Then let's say I want to have something which is greater than 15. It is returns. So let me put it 15. Then I say format. I go to fill. I select the color green and I say OK. Okay. Then I say OK. Perfect. Okay. So data where numbers are not there, text is there, it will automatically convert it into consider it as the higher number. So that is where all of this also you are getting highlighted. Now what I will do is again the data is selected, again I'll go to conditional formatting. Now not new rules, I will now do manage rules. Okay. Now I want to add multiple conditions after this. So new rule, format cells that only contain between 12 to 14.99. Orange. Okay. Now two things are available. New rule. Now I can keep adding rules as much as I want. Format cells that contain. We had said 12, so I'm saying between 9 and 11.99. Yellow. Okay. Okay. Last, below, less than 9. Format cells that contain. Blue. Okay. ठीक है. All the ranges are there, everything else is there. Apply. Okay. This is how it will look. I will move outside so your colors are more visible. Right? So this is normally the way we do a data mapping. You can also do a heat range selection, but that will be slightly complicated. So it is available. I'll show you where it is. So here only it is available. So if you say, when you say new rule, cells that only contain, okay, and here you have the range which is available. Now you can mention this range, the colors as two broad colors, okay. You can have a blue and you can have a dark orange. So it will give you colors in between also. The heat range is normally your this is green and this is red. This is the range which is there. Okay, and you could just convert this also like this. Okay, I will just delete the rest of the rows. Okay, like this is the heat range. I can specify also. If I go here, conditional formatting, manage rules, edit rule, I can specify the values also here. Okay, what range I want, lowest value how much, highest value how much, all of that can be done, and then I can clear this. So that is available through this, as well as you can do it in the heat range separately as well. 2 color, 3 color, whatever you want to have. 3 colors also can be selected like this. I want a color in between, which is, let's say, orange. I select this. Okay, green, orange, red. I can have the heat map which is created. I can have the midpoint is percentile, 50 is fine. If I want this values to be selected, they can also be selected, not from here, but it can be done. Okay, so this is typically your heat range which is available. Okay, but the point is that a lot of people find distinguishing between colors very difficult. For example, if I have to ask you that, tell you that 9.05 and 7.74 are two different colors, it is difficult for your eyes to separate those colors, right? So better to have proper full-fledged color and use conditional formatting for that. It will give you a fair idea of what the entire data is all about, how much is what, which is good, which is bad, and then without getting into the micro detailed analysis, you can still identify what is relevant for you. Okay, so we did this as well, the conditional formatting.
Thank you, Tejas sir. Really wonderful presentation. तेजस जी, इट वाज आई थिंक थोड़ा अपने को है ना नेक्स्ट लेवल पे क्या करना पड़ेगा, इंस्टेड ऑफ मूवी ट्रेनिंग वी हैव टू डू ट्रेलर ट्रेनिंग. दैट इज एक ही टॉपिक पकड़ना है, एक ही दिन एक ही टॉपिक सिखाना है, बस दैट्स इट, फिनिश्ड. तो आई थिंक दैट विल बी मोर रिफ्रेशिंग एंड पीपल विल अंडरस्टैंड दैट. सर आप म्यूट पे हैं.
Yeah, done, no problem. We'll do that.
Because I think it will hardly take you 15-20 minutes for one thing, and in 15-20 minutes the session is over. And that we can do an unlimited number of sessions, मतलब as per your availability whenever you are free. Okay, कभी भी मतलब एक weekdays में भी, even we can record that sessions also and put them for the availability, so people will grasp it. Because आज क्या हो गया, 4 या 5 tools में ही लोगों को थोड़ा bouncer जाने लग गया. So unless and until they practice it, I don't think they will be able to actually understand it.
True.
They have to keep this video in front of them and then start the practicing. But it was lovely, sir. मतलब बहुत सारी चीज मैंने भी आज सीखा है. I'll also practice. Then let's see how it works out. नहीं तो वापस आ जाएंगे आपके पास, सर वापस सिखाओ.
Definitely. I'm always there for you guys.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for taking out from Saturday.
Yeah.
श्रीनिवास को तो बेचारा इनफो चालू है तो कुछ कर नहीं सकते, ऑफिस में ही है.
Now, while we've given a brief on presentation, for any further queries here available, I'll just quickly run through the presentation, considering the, time of, partners and you, because we are reaching 6 now, right? But any further queries we are available, further, briefing, more, the fun in more detail.
12 को बंद हो रहा है ना, 12 को बंद हो रहा है ना.
Yes. August 12th it is closed.
So guys, we have 10 days. Push. अभी कोई competition में है भी नहीं, fun. Push करो. Very smart of him. सब खत्म होने के बाद आ गया. चलो, done. Thank you.